Like to call the session to order, please. September 8th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiCaprio, President.
Yes.
Mr. Atway, Vice President.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mrs. Cooper. Here. Mr. Wilson. Here.
Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Probably.
At this time, I'd like to hear from our principal, please, Mr. Wilmot.
Thank you, Mr. Beaumont, High School Principal. The board has a lot of items on the agenda that I passed out to you. Just want to highlight two things. Last spring, our AP test scores, I think I mentioned it last time, if I remember correctly, there's some students here. So once again, it's astounding to get 15 students taking the health test and all that under score. And that's a huge credit to the kids and the teacher families. It's just an outstanding educator. The average Ohio student scored 3.0 on it, and globally it's only like 2.8. So kudos go out to Hamilton and all those kids, and they peak out. They're gone, they're seniors off to college. What a great job. And the other thing is, Mr. Graff teaches a class called Property Design, and along with some of the other art teachers, Mrs. Antal and Mr. Boots. And it's kind of cool this year, the Campfield Scarecrow set out a kind of a flyer that said, hey, we really could use some help from some of the local schools to build some sets for our scarecrows. And Campfield was the only school that replied. And wow, what a great job Mr. Graff and his kids did. Just fantastic. And you can see them up for one issue we have in high school is storage space on pieces of wood things. But if you walk through the June foyer, you'll see a couple of these. You go to the Campfield Scaregrounds. I'm sure many of you go to the Scaregrounds still. It's pretty cool, and they just did a great job. So again, they have a haunted mansion, monsters incorporated, the Addams Family, and Focus Focus. These are all sets you'll see at the Campfield Scaregrounds, done by Mr. Kraft and his prop design class. So that's pretty cool. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to thank our open house really well. We're glad we got back. It was really big for our fifth graders to do a large building. I assure the parents that after 2 or 3 days, it'll be like secondhand to them, and you see them walking the hallways now. They're going to classes, they're going to expressive arts, and they don't have that dazed and confused looks in their eyes. So things are going really well with our incoming fifth graders. The first few days have gone well. Just thank our 7th and 8th grade parents with their had a couple of scheduling glitches, but we got everything worked out, and everyone is where they're supposed to be. So we're excited about that. We do have our 5th grade fun night this Friday. We bring camp just so
classroom. Teaching positive interventions and supports those teachers that students are all through our building, various ways. And have a huge thank you go out to all the people that helped make our maker spaces possible. This summer, we were very busy trying to get those set up. A huge thank you to our PTA for all the generous donations that they put in, allowing us to put these various STEAM and STEM related activities into that space. Also wanted to thank our community donations as well, which also came through and helped us put some new flooring in as well. So a huge thank you to everybody that was a part of that. I especially want to thank Patty Hawkins-Smith. She is our STEM teacher at C.H. Campbell, and the copious amount of hours that she put into making sure that room was ready to go on day one. You have some pictures in your handouts. It's pretty amazing to see those kids learning and engaging in those hands-on activities. And the last thing that I wanted to touch on is it's also just going to be great welcoming PTA volunteers back into the building this year. We're very excited to have some PTA volunteers coming in a limited capacity, and that's just going to be a great experience for our parents to be back involved. Again, it's at a limited capacity compared to what we usually do, but definitely going to be great to have those people coming in and helping out. Thank you.
I was over at CH today and saw that makerspace in action, and it's incredible. So I've been sending you all some pictures along the way, but we'll continue to do that too. So it's been awesome.
Mr. Flood.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to start out the school year by thanking our custodians. They worked very hard over the summer. Mr. Ware, Mr. Thomas, and Jeff Stewart. He's an aide in the district, and he was a permanent sub this year. And they worked their butt off this summer and did an amazing job, so we couldn't get this year started without them. Some things that I've noticed throughout the first couple of days that we have started, we had some beautiful weather, and just seeing the teachers take the kids outside, and the kids are learning outside, and pretty amazing. I'd love to see the kids back again. Makes my day, and I couldn't ask anything else but thank the teachers as well for doing that. Our outside classroom project, with the help of the PTA, it really donated a lot of money, but we got another project done for the students. Like a theater seat was a dream last year, but it came reality this summer. And a couple guys put a lot of hard work in, and loved seeing the kids out there, just enjoying it, learning out there. I had the opportunity daily during the summer just to walk around and see it in live action, and it's truly amazing. And then, most of all, I got to welcome our lunch aides. They just started today, Jessica Toot and Lisa Bourne, and they came on today helping me, and they did an amazing job, and we're trying to clean things up and try to keep everyone safe, but we just want to welcome them to Hilltop. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it sounds like it's been an interesting week. Glad to see you after the fair. I know it's always difficult to get them back into the classroom, but I think you guys did a great job. Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to have a motion to accept the minutes from August 18th, 2021. We did receive them via Google Docs, and we all reviewed them. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second, Watson.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. Capua?
Yes. Okay, at this time, we will take public participation. Again, like we did at our last meeting, please let me go over some of our guidelines. We have 30 minutes for public participation. Therefore, those that have signed up each get 3 minutes. At the end of 30 minutes, whether you have been given a chance to speak or not, we will end the public comments. These are our guidelines as stipulated in our policy, and you can feel free to look it up. It's 0169.1. So at this time, we will call our first speaker. And please, I just want to remind everyone in the audience that everyone in this room is entitled to their opinion, whether you agree, disagree, or indifferent. I do want to say that you give them the courtesy and the respect that all speakers get. Thank you.
Chad Hawks.
Chad Hawks, 503 Greenmont. I support any parent that wants to send their kid to school in a mask. I'm against mandating behavior that has recognizable harms for children, and the scientific evidence does not support the position that masks protect against the spread of the virus. I want there to be choice. This is the opposite of those who seek to mandate and force their views upon others. I'm sure the individuals proposing the mandatory masks are good people and want the best for children. But let's also be clear, mandating a behavior on weak evidence when there are known costs is not a good idea. Most importantly, the arguments by mandate proponents rest on three logical fallacies. 1, children are at risk. 2, masks are effective. And 3, even if effective, the benefits outweigh the costs. Again, the burden's on the proponent. Children are at less risk of dying from COVID than the seasonal flu. Stop acting like Ebola is roaming our schools. Children are at approximately 0 risk. Let's talk about effectiveness of masks and scientific evidence around that topic. Dr. Scolari touched on this last month. There's a hierarchy of medical evidence. At the bottom is expert opinion. At the top are randomized controlled trials and meta-analyses. Evidence at the top is more reliable, can demonstrate causation, and is weighed more heavily. So when your basis for a mask mandate is that the ODH or the CDC or the AAP says we should mandate masks, that is not evidence. That is not data. Opinions based on institutional recommendations are the lowest quality medical evidence. Also, remember when the CDC told us not to wear masks, then to wear them, then told us to wear them outside, then told us not to wear them outside, then told us if you're vaccinated, it's impossible to transmit, then it turned out vaccinated people could transmit. Remember they told us plexiglass was important to have in schools, and then they removed that? Yeah, me too. So forgive me if I don't blindly take their word as scientific fact. The best evidence the CDC can give on masks is observational studies, which don't show statistically significant results, just mere associations. To support the claim that masks aren't effective, there are at least 12 randomized controlled trials that demonstrate that masks are not effective in stopping the spread of respiratory viruses transmitted via aerosols. That's not even mentioning the recent Bangladesh study. A WHO meta-analysis came to the same conclusion. All of this data is published. Finally, there are burdens associated with children wearing masks. Masks impair verbal and nonverbal communication. They impair language development and pose hardships on those with hearing disabilities. They block emotional signaling between students and teachers. They're detrimental to social, emotional, and educational development. I'm not under the illusion that the virus is in retreat or that cases are going to be low this winter. I think it's going to be worse. But the fact that cases exist doesn't all of a sudden make masks effective in preventing the spread of the virus. In closing, mandate proponents need to demonstrate how a child's risk is higher than the ambient risks we have accepted in the past. They need to show high-quality medical evidence that masks are effective in schools. And finally, if those two prior conditions are met, how this outweighs the known costs. Thank you.
Right on. I'm impressed. 3 minutes on the nose.
Joe Ambrose.
Joe Ambrose, 6805 Pheasant Run Drive.
Dr. Ambrose, can you tilt the mic down?
Too short?
Yeah, sorry. Or, there we go. Thank you.
Start again.
Thank
Joe
you.
Ambrose, 6805 Pheasant Run Drive, Canfield. I agree with everything that you said. It's hard to add to that, but just a little bit on particle physics. The coronavirus is 100 nanometers in diameter. The smallest pore on an N95 is 300 nanometers. Right there, you can see that 3 viral particles could conceivably pass. We've had 4. Now, people will say, well, it comes out in droplets and they get caught on the mask. I won't disagree with that, but when the droplet dries, the virus is still there. it doesn't disappear. It hasn't been neutralized. The next time you take a breath, it'll blow right through that pore and out into the world. It lands on a particle of dust, it lands on a tabletop, it lands on a pencil, it lands on your book bag, it lands anywhere it wants to. And the same thing is true on ingress. Somebody happens to pass by you and they spread a viral particle to your mask. It's in a droplet form. It sticks there. You touch your mask, you touch your face, you touch somebody else. The particle dries. And the next time you suck in, that virus sucks right through the mask. Don't think of mask as a barrier. It's a filter. That's all it is. It's a filter. And filters have physical limitations. And let's talk about the gaps. Have you seen how people wear their masks, particularly children? An aerosol particle follows the path of least resistance. And so if you have gaps along your nose, gaps along your cheek, guess where that particle is going to go? We walk around every day with our mask on. And I'm going to steal a little thunder from Michael here, but can you smell coffee with your mask on? Can you smell aftershave? Can you smell cologne? Can you smell anything? Because if you are, that's being carried into you on aerosols, which are much larger than the viral particles, by the way. So that the mask offers you zero protection against transmissions of virus. In all the years between 1918 and now, we've never worn a mask. Not through the 1957 pandemic that killed 116,000. Not through the pandemic of 1968 that killed 100,000. Not in the pandemic of H1N1 in 2009. We've never worn masks. Are we to believe that all of a sudden we've figured out that something as simple as a mask is the panacea here? It's going to cure everything for us? It's going to block a virus? It does not. It does not. It's virtue signaling, and it's fear-mongering, and that's all that they've done. They have created this climate where instead of us being friends, we're friends in this room. And now we've become enemies because of a mask that doesn't do anything except separate us. We should be talking about what unites us, not this. That's all.
Sean Sitch.
Hi, my name is Sean Sitch, and I'm a resident of 91 Chapel Lane. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the board for allowing me to speak. Even though I come to you tonight in opposition of the current optional masking policy, I don't think you all and I have a very different opinion when it comes to the importance of students in this district. I definitely think there are issues that we share a consensus on. First off, I want to commend this board for doing everything that they could to make sure that students were able to attend school all last year as scheduled. I thought that this board did an amazing job of representing the best interest of our students. The result of their policies allowed for a full and continuous school year. I, like all of you, want a school year where kids can go for 5 days and have full in-person learning. It just surprises me that this board doesn't see that having compulsory mask attire for students and staff was the bridge to get to that 5 days. That's what we want with all in-person learning, specifically. The last thing we would want to do is put students' health and safety at risk. What doubly surprises me is this policy doesn't even apply to students who are unable to get vaccinated. It's not just me, as a parent of a 10-year-old, that feels this way. The American Academy of Pediatrics, the Center for Disease Control, and recently released peer-reviewed COVID-19 studies agree. I can only speak from my heart, but they speak with evidence and data. I don't think anyone here believes that an optional mask policy will last the entire year. Many schools like Lowellville, Kirtland, New Albany, and Willoughby Eastlake, who had similar policies, had to change from optional to mandatory mask attire after a large breakout in cases. I know, Joe, you mentioned that you care about what happens in the 44406, but yesterday this district had 6 cases, not including those who have to quarantine. Before one of these cases causes grave illness in one of our staff members or students, we need to make the right choice. Mandatory mask attire for all staff and students based on the care and concern we show for others. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Sitch.
Allison Zabel.
Good evening. Shorter. My name is Allison Zombel. I live at 71575 Hinton Road. I would like to commend the board for allowing families to make their own decisions this year. We are all parents trying to do what is best for our children. And while we may not be perfect, it's important that we recognize that there is no cookie-cutter solution to what we are being faced with in the world today. We say that children are resilient, and that while it may seem that they are, we do not know the long-term lasting effects of how decisions we make today will reflect their adulthood. It's not really that they're resilient, but rather they comply with what adults want them to do because they genuinely trust that adults have their best interests at heart. What's happening in this community is truly disheartening. Adults are coming at each other on social media, nonetheless, simply because they do not agree. What kind of example are we setting for our children? There has been division for thousands of years. This is nothing new under the sun, but to assume that there is only one way to handle this situation is presumptuous. Science is fluid and it changes every day. It is difficult to keep up, and everyone wants a one-size-fits-all solution that doesn't exist. I feel like we are all doing our best to raise healthy, strong, independent, critically thinking future adults, and that does not make them disrespectful or selfish. It seems that a lot of people have been so afraid of dying lately that they've forgotten how to live. We are not focusing on our children how to develop strong immune systems by being active, eating nutrient-rich foods, and enjoying sunlight. Instead, they are being offered a false sense of security through measures that may or may not be beneficial to them in the long run, according to ever-changing science. Fear and anxiety are two major immunity suppressors. Healthy children are living in fear of being sick instead of marveling at our body's natural ability to heal itself. We live in a quick society where people want quick fixes instead of putting in the work for long-term results. When presented with information, please take the time to dig a little deeper yourself. Use discernment and make the best decision for you and your family, all while not placing judgment on other families who may not choose the same outcome as you do. Making decisions simply because we want to make other people comfortable while ignoring our beliefs is virtual signaling and kind of hypocritical. It's time for our community to stand together and respect each other's decisions rather than putting people down just because they may not agree. It's not just about a minor inconvenience. We have been in this for 18 months at this point. Now it's time to focus on how to sustainably mitigate this by raising a generation of Cardinals who are happy and healthy both mentally and physically. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
That's it.
I'm sorry, sir, you had to sign, we had to have you sign in if you were going to speak this evening.
We just walked in. I'm the national director for Stop Bullying.
For stop what?
The National Stop Bullying Organization.
Did you let us know you were going to be coming, sir?
We didn't know, we just saw it in the, online, and we decided to come. We know that you guys have a bullying agenda. We want to address that as well as this guy was talking about the mask. So if you allow me 2 minutes to speak, I would appreciate it.
You know what, I wish I could, but I can't. We can have you at our next meeting and put you on our agenda at that time. Our meeting started at 6 o'clock.
This is ridiculous. This is why your kids are having problems. This is why your kids are having problems. I'm the national director of Stop Bullying, and you deny me speech.
Hey, am I not checking your phone while this meeting is going on?
Sir, this is somebody that's texting me from Facebook telling me how we need to vote for masks. So it's one of your group that's texting me.
Like, you were, well, that girl was speaking in favor of your position.
All right, at this time, we're going to move on. New business, please.
Okay, so we'll start with some personnel under hiring or classified, pending all their background checks and appropriate licensure. Under exhibit number 1, we have Jessica Toot. Lunch we made at Hilltop, 2.5 hours per day at $14.90 an hour, effective September 9th. And Lisa Boring, lunchroom aide at Hilltop, 2.5 hours per day at $14.90 per hour, effective September 9th as well. We have a transfer reassignment. That's Angela Burke, who's from the Hilltop lunchroom aide to our office aide at 2.25 hours a day, and also our new courier at 0.25 hours a day at $14.24 per hour, effective August 30th of 2021. We also have 3 custodians that we're going to hire like we did last year to just kind of work around the district and the buildings and hit those real touch areas and give us some extra support there. Miss Molly, Miss Linda, and Miss Janice at $12 an hour at 3 hours per day. I'm also going to approve classified substitutes, paying their background check. We have Christina Hall, in exhibit number 2A. We have a resignation for extracurricular. That's Christine Caparel, our middle school drama director, effective immediately under exhibit 3. And also a resignation under classified, Miss Amy Beck, the CHS cafeteria, effective September 22, 2021, in exhibit 4. We have all of our hiring of extracurriculars, all those folks enclosed list in exhibit number 5. And finally, hiring of paraprofessionals to be reimbursed by the boosters. Jim Skanga as band paraprofessional at $15 per hour. All those individuals as presented.
Based on the recommendation of our superintendent, may I have a motion to accept as is all the hirings, reassignments, and resignations?
So moved.
Campbell seconds.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio?
Yes.
The treasurer would like to set a date for a special board meeting to discuss and adopt the appropriations. She's recommending Wednesday, September 29th. And we put 4 o'clock on there, just trying to kind of work around everybody's schedule. If that's a good time. I know we try to do noon sometimes, but I didn't think that was going to work.
I can't do 4 o'clock at all.
Okay,
They don't even dismiss our kids till 4.
okay,
So, but if you guys want to, and, you know, I mean.
yeah.
I
It's
might-
kind of,
I might actually, oh no, I can't do noon, I do.
it's kind of a
Wednesday.
quick one, isn't it, Miss Treasurer? Yeah.
So 4 of us as parents.
So can everybody else make it on the 29th at 4?
That should work.
Does that work for everybody?
Do we have to come as early as 4 if it's quick? I mean, can we come at 5?
You want to?
This is our meeting, sir.
The question is, 5 o'clock
Does 5 o'clock work?
work?
5 o'clock can work.
Mr. Campbell, Mr. Wilkerson?
Yeah, I can do any of that.
All right, we'll shoot for
So
5.
we'll do 5?
Okay.
All right.
And that's the only agenda item for that.
Yeah, that should be equipment, right, Ms. Treasurer? Just
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And then I'd like to approve the list of parent district support organizations for the 21-22 school year as per policy 9211, pending completion of all the forms by September 30, 2021. All those folks were under exhibit number 6.
Based upon the recommendation of our superintendent, do I have a motion to approve the parent district support organizations known as our boosters clubs for 2021-2022?
So moved. Wilkerson.
I'll second that way.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio?
Yes.
And I'd like to recommend adoption of resolution number 14-2022, declaring transportation impractical for those listed students in exhibit number 7.
Based upon the recommendation of our superintendent, do I have a motion to adopt resolution 14-2022?
I can do that motion. So moved.
Campbell seconds.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio?
Yes.
And I'd like to recommend approval of an out-of-state overnight field trip request. That's exhibit number 8 with our girls softball team going to Sarasota, Florida from the April 16th to the 23rd. Yeah, April 16th to 23rd, 2022 to participate in spring break softball tournament, about 5 games, providing travel and lodging are covered by an outside organization.
Based on the recommendation of our superintendent, do I have a motion to approve our girls softball team travel to Sarasota the 16th through the 23rd of April?
Campbell so moves.
Kluchar second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to go once again on the record about these kinds of trips. I just think they're excessive, and you know, it's very different than band that goes once every 4 years. We end up with this one-upsmanship where the trips have to be better and bigger, and I think it puts a lot of pressure on parents to fundraise, to pay for these things, and I'm skeptical of the athletic importance of them, so.
Okay. I appreciate that.
So on that same line, last year they didn't travel anywhere, right? We had
Well,
Last
no-
year,
no one
last
traveled
year I
anywhere.
made everybody stay at home.
And the year before, was it a Florida?
I don't think they've ever gone to Florida.
No.
Softball team.
To my knowledge, they've never gone to Florida. Is that
South Carolina.
correct?
South Carolina, maybe.
Myrtle
Alabama.
Beach is the typical
Usually
trip.
Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
The only comment I would make to that is that as long as we remain consistent with
Right.
our athletic ability, or if it's baseball that gets to go somewhere, softball should be able to do so.
Well, I'm not saying they shouldn't go somewhere. I'm saying that there are other opportunities that are closer and less expensive to go to. And, you know, I know there was talk in baseball about going to IMG in Florida, which is a camp. It's very, you know, nonstop baseball. It's not a tournament. It's not at a beach. You know, I don't know. I'm just skeptical of these kinds of trips, and I don't know where baseball's going, but I'm sure. I don't know.
The only thing I'd recommend is if it's in April and it's Florida, that there's some sort of caveat to allow them to get a refund if travel would be limited at that point in time. So I'm hopeful and optimistic, but I'm also realistic.
Right.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio?
Yes.
Could turn over to the treasurer to take a look at our donation.
So we had Catherine and Jeffrey Stone, $52.50 for CBMS cheerleading. J. Ford Crandall Memorial Foundation, $22,400 for the sensory room project. Another donation to the sensory room project of $250 from Valley Counseling Services. And Canfield Automotive Repair Service repaired the district's special services van. Total cash donations for September, $22,702.50.
Do I have a motion to accept the donations as presented by our treasurer?
So moved.
I'll second.
And our roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio?
Yes.
And I'd like to recommend that we designate Farmers National Bank as the district's public depository for the 2021 and 2026 from exhibit number 10.
And based upon our superintendent's recommendation, do I have a motion to approve Farmers National Bank as our public depository?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just for a clarity perspective, I think it would be, so is this every 5 years?
Every 5 years.
Okay.
Any other? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio?
Yes. At this time, I'll turn it over to our superintendent for his update.
All right, so I have a couple of things. I'll echo the thoughts and comments from our administrative staff. We had a fantastic start at school. I was itching to get going, I'm not gonna lie to you. Start of school couldn't come quick enough for me, but everyone did a great job. It's great to see the buses up and running and getting our kids here. There's always some wrinkles to work out the first week or so when it comes to transportation, but they've done a great job. Kudos to our administrators. I worked these guys real hard over the summer. They know that, but they stepped up to the plate, and we were ready to roll day one, which I was very appreciative of. And it's great to see our staff members going at it as well, being able to walk around and see the teachers coaching up the kids here early on, which has been great too. So just a couple events. The 46th Annual Band Show is this Saturday, September the 11th at 7 o'clock here at the stadium. So if you can make it out on Saturday, please do. We're going to have an event here in Canfield that's near and dear to my heart. It hasn't happened before. It's called Champion Day, and it's going to be next Thursday, which is September the 16th from 9 to 11 in the morning. We have invited students with special abilities from across Mahoning County to come to Canfield, and we are going to give them a game night experience. We're going to line the band up, have the kids walk, wheelchair, whatever they got to do to get through. We're going to announce their names, and then our student athletes from the high school are going to be broken out into different groups, and we're going to have a football section and a volleyball section, and the kids are going to learn some skills and just really have a great time. Like I said, I've done this before in my former life, and I think you all know I'm passionate about that world. And as a parent, my son's never going to experience a Friday night just because of his disability, but on this day, every kid that's there will. And it's going to be a great event. The next day, Friday, September 17th, is our annual community tailgate. Appreciate the PTA getting that up and running. I'll be working the grill, I guess, so come by and get a complimentary hot dog. But it's kind of like meet your administrators. I know this is year 2 for me, but with COVID, it's kind of like starting over. So I'll be out there. Our new special ed director will be out there, Mr. Spalding, and Mr. Vito. Even though he's been here for 50-some years, he's still new to a position. And I'm a little high on that number, but it'll be a good day. So 5 to 6:30, come out before the football game. We'll have a good time. I guess we got a DJ, and we'll have all kinds of fun, and just going to have a good time. So I want to talk a little bit about facilities, and this is for our community as a whole. I just want to give you a real kind of brief update on where the board is with facilities and kind of how things are moving forward. The board in this room interviewed 3 architectural firms a while back to be what we call a pre-bond assistance firm. And a group called TDA was approved by the board to help us with this. And what that means is this architectural firm is going to do community surveys, which will be coming out sometime soon here for you. Talk to us about other ways to engage the community, get your input, get some ideas, put together a bond committee, help us with messaging and materials. Also, they do building assessments, which TDA just completed last week, actually. I'm hopefully going to get those reports soon. But that's the goal of this organization, is to kind of start laying the groundwork and start helping us articulate the message out to our community. On August 20th, we had our first kickoff meeting. It was with a couple district representatives here on the board, myself and TDA. We basically just kind of did, how did we get here? What's the historical, what I call institutional knowledge on facilities? What's Canfield done in the past? We talked about enrollment, project scope, and master plans. What could buildings in the future look like here in Canfield? We talked about the OFCC. Most of you know that acronym, that term. State organization that helps build and construct school buildings. We talked about an 84% local share, 16% state share, which basically means Canfield's putting a lot of money towards this project if we would go that route. That's it in a nutshell. And then probably most importantly, land acquisition. Where does this facility or facilities go? And I've been in contact with the city, and we're having some good conversations on what that could look like down the road. And next steps, we actually have a committee meeting this Friday in the afternoon. Like I said, we're going to put together a community survey and get that out so we can start getting some feedback, talking about building a committee, community meetings, and then that land acquisition piece as well. So 2 minutes, maybe that's a quick 2-minute debriefing kind of on where we're at. Ms. Klucher, thank you for the thumbs up. And then finally, a couple things here. October 8th is NEOEA Day, which means there's no kids, but we're going to have adults here and staff. And sticking with our theme of every cardinal counts, that day is going to be built around mental health first aid training for our entire staff. I have gone through that personally as a superintendent. We're going to have some speakers in. I'm going to give kudos to Mr. Vito. He also shares my passion in this world as well. We're not mental health experts here, most of us as employees in the district, but we can learn the look fors. What are the warning signs? What are the red flags? And then what do you do as a bus driver, as a custodian, as a teacher, superintendent? So I'm excited about that day. And like I said, we'll be putting all of our resources in for that. And then finally, it's time for the daily COVID update, which I give to the board. And I'm happy to report today, 0. Okay. That's all I have.
Very nice. Can I ask a question? So
Yes, sir.
appreciate the update. So on Champion Day,
Yeah.
do we know a number of participants? Do you have to sign up for that?
We have 7 districts confirmed.
Nice.
I've talked to a couple other ones that say, hey, we might want to come. It's like we're looking at middle school and high school students for year 1. So we're hoping to get 70 participants here from outside of Canfield.
Wow, that's great.
That would be a great year 1, if we could get 70 folks here. That would be awesome.
That's outstanding.
That is outstanding.
And for the tailgate, don't come hungry since you're manning the grill.
Don't come hungry. I'm a pretty good grill master, so we'll be firing up some hot dogs.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good luck with that girl.
Uh-oh, that's not good. I gotta bring my own grill too? I gotta bring my own? Okay. It's quite a grill. It's quite a grill?
It's quite a grill.
It's not the one that has charcoal in it, is it?
It's worse than that.
Worse? Okay. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Okay. At this time, we are going to go into executive session to discuss matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulations and state statutes. I do not know when we will reappear. You are more than welcome to stay. But at this time, we will, at 6:41, go into executive session. May I have a motion for that, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio?
Yes.
Say it again.
Let it be recorded that executive session ended at 6:52. May I have a motion to adjourn our board meeting, please?
So moved.
Oh, he beat me.
You beat you.
Roll call, please.
Beat Atway.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Mr. Atway on the second.
Because Mr.
You got beat.